here we are, my last devotion of the year. I've just realised that when I usually do this, I record this. I'm speaking to you from my iPad, and the camera is usually on the other side. And so this morning I'm looking in the wrong direction. It's really put me off. But anyway, this has been an interesting year, and I think one of the most noticeable things that you may have seen through this year is, of course, my change in hair colour. Been some changes in backgrounds as well. Today I'm joined by a small tree. So, oh, it's different. What a different world we're living in again. Look, this is where we're a few days before Christmas now, and I've been thinking about actually, we're doing different devotions, but today, really, I wanted to ask one of those big questions, but exciting questions about the reality of as I said, Christmas coming right now. And a question I hear asked a lot is Christianity still relevant? Is Jesus still relevant? And I think about Jesus, and I think about this. I think he's more relevant now. I think he's more relevant now than he's ever been. I think he continues to be so relevant in so much, every part of life, but I just think it's so much more apparent this year from what everyone has been through. Think about Jesus and think about this baby born in poverty. He's in the stable. His mum's not married yet, she's probably a teenager. He's on the outskirts of society. And then that first period of his life, he's suddenly whisked off to Egypt as a refugee, running for his life with his family. You have Jesus, when he returns, he goes to the place, he lives in a place called Nazareth, and they said, Philip, he turned around and said, no good thing ever comes out of Nazareth. Nazareth was a dump. I'm not being rude about it, but Nazareth was seen as an absolute dump. Nothing good could come out of Nazareth, and that's where Jesus grew up after his return from being a refugee. So even before he started any type of ministry, he'd already been through so much. And then he has this life of impacting people's lives in such a positive way, healing, speaking words of affirmation. And yet within that, he's rejected. He's rejected by the authorities. He's rejected by the religious establishment. And ultimately then, in that, he leads this normal life where at times he was hungry, at times he was thirsty, at times, he was homeless. He said, I haven't got a pillow. At times Jesus slept outside. And then ultimately he's arrested. And what happens? His friends desert him. He's left completely alone. He is then tortured and executed. In his life, he wept with people, he mourned with them, he felt their pain. That's all the stuff with Jesus, which makes Jesus so relevant to anybody's life, because he'd been there, he's felt the pain, he's lived in that place where people would point. He's lived in the place where it's been hard. That's what Jesus did, and one of the reasons he lived that life is so that we all can know. We think about Jesus is this fact. We're speaking about Jesus who been there, done that. I know. He comes alongside and says, I know, I understand. He means it because he walked this earth. And he did that. And yet, you know, if you're a follower of Jesus, if you're not, I'll tell you something, the biggest thing I've learned about following Jesus is there's always an and. There's always a thing that says, you know, there's more. There's more. He likes to add things on top. In the Bible, he uses the terminology of a cup overflowing. That's what God's like. He talks about things overflowing. So, and, right? So Jesus went through all that pain, and yet he was victorious out of it. Jesus died, yes. He died actually, that was the plan. He died because of our brokenness. He died for all that rubbish we built up over in our lives. He died for that and then rose again. Rose again. Because Jesus' life isn't one just of the pain, it's actually a life of the victory. So he turns around and says, right, he won that. And then, what? Because he did that, he's then able to go, you know what? Because I've done that, I've made that way to God. So that all of that rubbish that you walk through now, any of that pain that you're in, any of that place where you're struggling, means now that I can walk it with you. God with us, Emmanuel. So Jesus' life and death means that he understands and that he will now walk through all of that pain with us, never leaving us, never forsaking us. And he says in that as well, he's going to walk through this life with us. The reality of Jesus is, and what he continues to do, is change lives, inspire lives. It's said, you know, Jesus is the pivot point of history. He has impacted the world more than anyone else ever. And no one can argue with that. This isn't some type of theological, this is what I believe moment. This is that's a fact moment. Ask any historian. Jesus Christ has impacted the world and has changed the world far more than anyone ever in the whole history of mankind. Think of all the hospitals, think of orphanages, think of charities, think of movements, all started, inspired by people who are following Jesus. Because he has come alongside, he walks with them, he inspires them, he changes them because of the way he lived, because of his death. Continues to do that. He continuously does that in my life. I sit here, I'm able to talk to you today because Jesus came alongside me and changed my life. That is what Jesus continues to do. Jesus is still so relevant. Jesus is still there, walking every step of the way with us. And Jesus has still got this invitation to us, saying, come on, come follow me, come join the party. So in a couple of days' time, we celebrate the birth of the one who has changed it all. Worth celebrating, isn't it? That's what I'm going to be doing. That's what I'm doing. Been doing it all month. Maybe we should do it our whole life. Maybe it should be Christmas every day. We celebrate Jesus. We celebrate his relevance. We celebrate what he's done. Merry Christmas to you all. It's been an absolute pleasure speaking to you this year, so Happy New Year to you too. And I look forward to doing this again in the very hopeful 2021. Goodbye.